All right, let me think of a good.
Um,
Let me think of an intro.
all right, think of a good intro.
I'm trying to think. What was the old Johnny Carson intro? Live from studio, whatever. The fucking
Straight out of Delco.
yeah, straight. There we go. Straight out of Delco, up into Morrisville. Welcome to the Amy and Steve Show, the fucking podcast with special guest star, Death Rocker, straight from Florida, Mr. Dave Scott Schwartzman.
Hi, how are you?
Yay!
Good to see you.
And everybody make sure you look at Dave and Amy and not my prednisone fat face. I'm just going to hide like this the whole show. So, Dave.
I wore an attention getting shirt today, so don't worry about it.
Yeah, that's true. You are drawing all the attention.
Oh, yeah.
My God.
I'm waiting for a bee to land on me.
You are a sexy motherfucker. Jesus.
Yeah, Jesus. We're related. Same tribe.
Nice. So what's going on, Dave? What are you doing these days?
Just been working a lot lately, and that's it. After Vegas, just put my head back into work. So nothing really going on. I'm doing the Lakeland Punk Rock Flea Market in a couple weeks. Gonna be selling and signing some books there.
Kissing the babies and shaking hands.
Yeah, absolutely. I might kick a couple babies too. It happens, you know.
Hey.
And then we got some AOD shows coming up in like May, I think is the first round.
I saw that.
Yeah, so we're back at Dingbats again, and we're in Clifton, and we're playing Wallingford, Connecticut, and then a Rampage Fest at Bowery Electric, which is a Sunday matinee on the Bowery. So it's like going back in time.
Is gentleman Bruce Wingate going to be joining you for any of these shows? Might he make?
Well, I certainly hope so. He's been practicing. It's just like me. It's hard to shake off, you know, the rust. He hasn't played in longer than me, so it's tough for him. Yeah, I'm hoping he could do it. You know, if he can't, it'll be Jim Foster again, like we did at the last round of shows. But it's up to Bruce. Hopefully, he can do it. I want him to. Everybody wants him to.
I know.
It's like, you know, it's like when we wrote these songs, like, you know, we didn't think we would be playing these songs at 60 years old. Yeah. That was not something that we ever thought. If we were, I would have been in Flipper. It would have been a lot easier to handle at that speed, you know.
Would they have had you in Flipper?
I was probably obnoxious enough to be in Flipper. Yeah, I could see that.
You know, Amy's got a good Flipper story. Amy,
I remember this.
Yeah, through hands with Bruce Luce, I think it was. So let's go back to Vegas. So you and I were together. Steve couldn't make it. We had the Punk Rock Museum.
Yeah.
Now, was that your first time there? Because that was my first time there.
That was my first time there. First time in Vegas since '85. So, and man, it changed. Let me tell you something. That's
Frank and Dean anymore.
It changed a lot. But yeah, a great time. I had such a good time, and they took really good care of us, and the museum was great. Just the whole weekend was fantastic.
Yeah,
I didn't know what to expect with the museum. I really was kind of expecting it to be, I don't know, corny, or I really didn't know what it was going to be like. And I was really pleasantly surprised at how cool it was and the really awesome things that they had on exhibit there.
Yeah, even just being at home and getting, you know, all your pictures and your texts and your emails, I could tell that everybody was having like a really great time, which really sucked for me, but I was really happy for all you guys out there. I'm so glad that a lot of the stuff worked out okay, because I was kind of the one who was trying to put it all together right up until it happened and everything. And I was so friggin' nervous that, you know, something like somebody was just going to get so mad at me and somebody wasn't going to talk to me.
We were just heartbroken for you, man, because we knew how badly you wanted to be there.
That was like one of the hardest weekends I've ever lived through. Like, I was so angry and so sick at the same time. It sucked.
Yeah.
Do you still have the head, the life-sized head that Dave
Oh
made
yeah,
of you?
oh yeah. I'm gonna get a frame and put it up in the room with all the pictures on the wall. Yeah.
Excellent.
I'll edit in a picture here, but yeah, Dave made an actual life-sized head of Steve so that we could carry it around and have him in pictures, kind of like a weekend at Bernie's, except
Yeah.
Yeah,
Less,
a
with less
lot
body.
lighter.
When I saw that, I got all choked up. A little tear came down.
yeah, yeah.
But for real, I was really glad. Like between hearing from Danny, hearing from Dave, hearing from Amy and Howard, like it just sounded like everybody had a good time. Like
We got along great together. It was good to see everybody for the first time. Everybody be together. So it was.
Yeah, that was the other thing I was really upset about missing. This was kind of like our first get together where all of our authors and me and Amy and Howard, we could all be together in one spot physically. Oh, dude, it broke my heart.
Yeah, I'm sorry, man. Life throws a curveball sometimes. You just got to deal with it,
But I'm
Next
so
time.
glad that, like you were saying, like you guys got to get together and meet everybody.
Yeah, it was certainly fun. And the singer Lamb of God was there the whole weekend, and we became friends. So that
That's
was
awesome.
pretty neat.
Oh, that's right. So did you get to go to that Lamb of God show in Florida when you got back?
I didn't actually go to it because they sold out like so hardcore that getting tickets to anybody outside of family was impossible because it was Pantera show and not Lamb of God show.
Oh, okay.
It was what it was.
Well, he was a super nice guy. We're talking about Randy Bly from Lamb of God, who was also at the Punk Rock Museum when we were there, also giving tours, and just nicest guy. Just nothing but wonderful things to say about him.
Very cool.
Yeah. So now you're back in Florida, and tell us about your screenplay. I know you. So we have the book that was released over a year ago, and people love it still. But you're working on a screenplay.
Yeah, when I was getting into the depths of writing, I thought that this could probably be a good movie. But again, like with writing, you have to kind of crack the code. It doesn't come natural, and I had to find my voice in the book, and it took a while. And then once I got into the rhythm, it kind of flowed. With the movie, I had an idea what to do with it the whole time, and it's not a punk rock biopic. I'm letting people know that. It's not the history of Adrenaline OD. It's a comedy, road movie, buddy movie, coming of age movie. But it's a comedy first. And like a lot of the funniest stuff that happened to us over the years that's in the book, we're all going to get condensed into that big 85 tour that we did. When I get to see the country, as, leaving my teenage years, and all the crazy stuff that happened. And it's coming along really good. I mean, I've been writing, I'll write in portions and I'll leave it alone for weeks. And then I'll go back, just look at it fresh. And so far, I'm like, I can't even remember even writing this line, but this is really funny. And as I'm going on, it's getting funnier and funnier. And I haven't even hit the really good stories yet. So, so I'm really happy the way things going. I'm almost halfway done with it right now.
So you're saying it's not going to be a biopic. Is there going to be a character in the movie named Dave Scott? And
it'll probably, it's based on true story and based on the book, So that's where we're going for it.
Who do you see playing you in the movie? You like a Robert Mitchum kind of guy?
Well, it's hard to say. The great Paul Lynde is dead, so
I know. Where somebody get Charles Nelson Riley on the phone?
Is Marty Feldman still alive?
Oh God.
Yeah, I haven't even thought about any of that part yet. To be honest with you, that won't be my issue. That'll be somebody else's issues. Once I sell this screenplay, that'll be somebody else's issue.
all kidding aside, I know, we're joking around and everything, but Dave's actually, he's absolutely correct. And I can say, me and Amy work very closely. We know Dave's book very well. And I can tell you from experience, as we were working on the book, the thoughts going through my head were, this would make a great movie. This would make a funny ass movie. And because of the way Dave like chronicled everything and wrote everything down, and the way that you wrote the book, it's nice and short and punchy, and it's got punchlines, and the laughs are quick, and I think that's kind of what you need for a screenplay slash.
And that's it. And with nobody's really done a good road movie lately. You're constantly in a different place and a different setting. You're never going to get bored. If you have ADD and you like comedy, this is going to be perfect for you. Just like the book, I kept it quick and funny.
A lot of pictures.
Yeah, a lot of pictures.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely. So tell us about the AOD gigs coming up this summer. So do you feel like you're going to be? You were here last year when when the book was released. It kind of like getting back together yearly and playing Dingbats and your other old stomping grounds is something that you guys are going to keep on doing.
Well, I think that our years of keeping on doing this are coming to a close. Our singer is over 60. Bruce just hit 60. I think Jack is 60 now. I'm the youngest one, but I'm 58. It's not like I'm fried. It's like I'm not jogging anyplace soon. You know what I'm saying? It takes so much work to get this done because it's not only just the drumming that you have to start slow and work up to speed. It's getting your heart in shape to do that, like a 40-minute set of playing that fast when you're this old is really freaking hard. Really hard. It takes a lot of dedication and a lot of work. And I'm a very lazy person, so it goes against every grain of my body.
About halfway through the tour, it's going to change to an all Ishtar fucking set list and all the slower stuff.
Oh, absolutely. That's why I'm, trying to stick more and more jokes into our shows. See? And more tuning up in between songs.
More patter, more vamping.
There you go.
You could come out, just grab the mic and do a little stand up and then go back behind the drums, just sort of.
I've done that a couple times. Sometimes it works. Sometimes people throw shit at you.
Well, that's the nature of stand up. So, yeah.
You know what I spent the last 2 days doing, by the way?
What?
This just shows you how getting old sucks. I lost my freaking Roku, my remote.
Oh no, that's the worst.
And it's gone. It's like aliens came down and took it. It is nowhere in my house to be found. I never have this thing outside of the one room in my house. And
did you check the fridge?
Going nuts. I might have thrown it out. I don't know. This is what happens when you get old, though. It really, really blows.
Yeah, you got to check the fridge. You got to check the microwave.
I've been doing that. I know.
It's always the fridge with me.
Yeah. I'll find it like in the cat's litter box or something.
Yeah. Well, especially if I've taken my medication, sometimes I know exactly the remote you're talking about because we have the Roku in the bedroom. And by the way, like 3 months ago, right when I was in the hospital, we just found out there's an All Prices Right channel that does nothing but play Old Prices Right for 24 hours a day on Roku.
Oh, that's awesome.
What, not people outside of this little conversation we're having probably, don't really know because I haven't put a lot of it out there publicly, but my family's been going through stuff with members of our family have had some bad health stuff, and it's been kind of somber and sad around here. It's been a little bit crazy, and I swear to God, that channel has brought me and my wife's spirits up so much. I mean, you watch it like a half hour at a time, you get a nice remembrance of childhood, and also when you need to zone out, when you've been just doing too goddamn much, it's so nice to put on and just veg out to. I swear to God.
Did you see the meme that's going around Facebook of Glenn Danzig on The Price is Right?
Oh, with the 138
with the 138? Oh, that's genius.
Love it. Love it.
I love funny Glenn memes.
So yeah, you're getting old, and you lose the remote, and working up to those shows, or working up to that speed of playing has got
Mhm.
to be difficult. What do you do to get up to speed? What did
Yep.
you do for the last round of shows?
I practiced every day. I have the drum set up in my house, and the closer I got to the shows, the more I would just run through the entire set, start to finish.
Wow.
And it's really difficult to get through some of these songs. Like even a song that's not like our fastest song, like Suburbia, it's got the same beat for like 3 minutes. That's really stamina to do that. It's hard, man. And it's like you feel like your hands like cramping up and stuff in the middle of that. So the only thing you can do is just practice and practice and practice, and it does get easier, and you can pull it off.
Mm-hmm.
So,
God bless you, man.
well, I mean, the last thing I want to do is look like an idiot in front of a bunch of people.
Oh, I hear you.
Everybody's going to have their cell phone in the air, so that'll go worldwide.
Exactly.
I may have told you this. We did the last time we played CBGBs. It was the Save CBGB show, and we were opening for the Dead Boys, Flipper. There he goes, Flipper again. And Peter and the Test Tube Babies, and they had like a white kettle light above my head the whole freaking time.
Oh,
The place
man.
was sold out. It was already like 110 in there. And I remember playing the song Bugs, and I was starting to hear my heartbeat over my drums. And
Wow.
I'm like, the only thing that's going through my head is like, please don't let me be the guy that dies on stage at CBGBs and goes viral. And then, like,
Right.
for the rest of the time, that's all I'm known as this dude that dropped dead while he was playing the drums at CBGBs.
Right.
Didn't want that happening, So, I mean, I got through it, but it was hard, man. It was hard.
Jesus.
And that show really made me bone up for the other shows. I realized that you can't just wing it anymore, man. It's just like it's the same as going to the gym. You have to get in shape for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I've been playing every week with some friends. We jam every Friday. After COVID, like I realized that I haven't seen anybody in so long. We've all been locked away. So, three of my good friends, just who are all musicians and have been in bands with me over the years, just decided, let's just, we have a rehearsal space. Let's just jam every Friday, and we'll write a new song every Friday, and that'll be it. And man, that's what we've been doing. We've been writing like a new song every Friday, and we rarely go back and listen to them. We record everyone. We probably have over 24 songs at this point.
Wow.
Nothing's really punk. It's all kinds of everything from like post-punk to sort of grunge. I mean, it really, everything that's not in our comfort zone, because all we played pretty much has been that punk stuff. So we wanted to kind of better ourselves as musicians by not limiting ourselves to any kind of punk or hardcore.
Nice.
So it made me a better drummer. So that's it. That's helped. And it's keeping me loose.
Very cool. And as far as the writing goes, we know you've told us about the screenplay. Do you have any ideas for other books or even other screenplays?
I do have an idea for another book. I want to get through like the screenplay first,
Sure.
before I even think about something else.
Sure.
But I do have another good story. It wasn't really necessarily an AOD involved story, but it's just as funny and just as relevant to music because of, the whole background of like the heavy metal thing and how popular that became. I used to work for a merch company, and we were the people that were the first people in the country to do the back patches and all the Metallica and Slayer and stuff like that. But the guy that ran the place was just like a complete character, and like Gilbert Gottfried on speed.
Nice.
So I've got some amazing stories about some of the stuff I've been through with that. So that's probably going to be the next story that I tell.
Was that Burning Airlines, Dave?
No. This was a place back in the 80s called King Embroideries, and they sold to all the record stores across the country, and they would do big trade shows and stuff like that. But they started off as doing like unlicensed, and that's when the real fun stories were, because you had like this guy who was just like a maniac at doing like trade shows with like bootleg merchandise, and he was a Jewish guy who was about like 5'4", had a giant afro and a mustache, a thick mustache, and he would smoke pot and then like get so stoned he'd fall asleep at his own table, and like all these old people at the trade shows, like at the Javits Center and stuff, would walk by like, what the hell is this? And he was very like flamboyantly dressed, like remember the Michael Jackson Thriller pants, there's red.
Oh, yeah.
He wore those all the time.
Wow.
Oh yeah, and a lot of people that went on to different bands and stuff passed through that place, so it's got history too. So
Cool.
yeah, so
Hey, man,
that's probably not the next story I tell.
when I was like 12 or 13, I had the denim jacket with the fucking, like, I lived to have a Slayer back patch. But my happiest day was when I got a Show No Mercy back patch and Celtic Frost and every satanic band you could think of in the 80s. And I would, for some reason, my mom would sew them onto my jacket. But then I'd get in trouble at school, and then she'd ground me for it, take them right off.
Ah, the hypocrisy of life.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you were really into those patches, you're welcome, because I was the one that really had a lot to do with that stuff.
Nice.
Well, when I started working for the company, he was doing like Duran Duran and Wham and Aha. That was like his stuff. And it's like, there's bands like Metallica and Slayer, that would do a lot better than this. And he's like, I don't know about that. I did really good with Joyce Michael.
Yeah, I remember the glut of George Michael back patches in the 80s.
Yeah. Exactly.
Well, good. That sounds, something that sounds like something that could only come from you and would be very, very funny.
Yeah, absolutely. There's enough stories there for a book as well. So
nice.
For sure. I'm going to have another sip of sweet tea because I am in the South.
Okay.
Oh, that's brisk.
Right. Well, Jess, I don't want to keep you. I want to keep this short and sweet. Okay. But do you have anything else? Do either one of you have anything else you would like to add? This conversation's been hilarious.
What do you guys got coming up?
What do we have coming up? Well, I'm right at the moment. I'm working our good friend who you might have met in Vegas, Mark Wasserman. Mm-hmm. I'm working on his second book, which is it's kind of like a love letter to the Beat, Special Beat, and one of their albums, Soul Salvation. And it's kind of like that 33 1/3 book series.
Yes,
the little tight. It's sort of kind of like that, where he deconstructs the album and he goes real deep into it because he's a musician too, so he's got that perspective. Yeah. But it's also it's much more personal than those books usually are. So it's like it's his story as well. Finding the music, being young, finding that particular record and why it's so important, and then the deconstruction of the making of the album, the recording of the album. So it's a real good mix of the stuff that we at DiWulf like, the history stuff, the factual stuff, and it's got a real nice personal touch. And me as an editor, I usually stay away from stuff like that, but there are certain people that if you have garnered respect in what you do, like a musician, Mark's been making music for 20, 30, 40 years. Somebody like you, Dave, if you came to me with an idea about something that you loved in your life, I would be like, okay, well, Dave's accomplished it. I don't like it when it's like somebody, punk rock saved my life. Well, we all know that. You didn't really do anything with it, so you don't have a story. But, when it's somebody like Mark, who's had a great career in music and has a great career in music and writes stuff like this, I'm always interested in it. So that's kind of what I'm immersed in right now.
Actually, when you talk to Mark, have him get in touch with me because, when my half-sister passed away, I inherited her stuff. And among her stuff are her own 8x10 photographs of the English beat in the 80s, like an Specials, Madness. There's a lot of. I got like a nice little stack of pictures that's unpublished and really good.
Oh, wow, that would be awesome! Yeah. We'll definitely talk about that.
Cool.
Excellent.
And then I'm working on my husband, Howard. He did a punk fanzine in the late 70s, early 80s. So we're doing an anthology of those like we did with Hard Times.
I'm
What was
really
that one
excited
called?
about that.
What was that
was that?
fanzine called?
He actually had two. He had one called D Scenes that was in the late 70s, just focused on DC punk. And then they expanded it to be more nationwide and called it Discord.
Oh, wow. I do remember this.
Yes. So yeah, it was yeah, I mean, pretty like there's a whole interview where Henry Rollins and Ian are interviewing Black Flag, and this is before Henry was in Black Flag. You know, they're in Ian's bedroom. You know, they're interviewing them and whatnot. So it's a lot of like really, really early punk stuff.
Yeah.
I was watching an interview with Ian not too long ago. It was a fairly new interview, and they were talking about his background, and Howard came up quite a few times in his interview as like, you know, one of the people that really was an influence for him.
Yeah.
So it was kind of neat.
Yeah, Howard was a little bit older than, you know, they were like tweens or teenagers, and Howard was like maybe about 10 years older, and he really encouraged them and was a huge proponent that, you know, every show should be an all ages show. They shouldn't, that bars and restaurants needed to let kids in and stuff. So, but yeah, it's fun looking at the really old stuff. And, you know, we were talking about in Vegas, like fanzines. That was like our version of the internet, really. I mean, that was how you found out what was going on and what clubs to play.
And also brought so many other people into the scene that maybe couldn't play an instrument, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, you know, everybody got to express themselves either with writing or taking pictures, you know, and there was also you could bring in, you know, people within the scene as contributors. So but it was a very communal thing, fanzines were, you know, especially the local ones, you know?
Yeah.
And that's exactly what I was. Like, you know, I loved going to shows. I loved bands. I loved everything about music. I had no musical ability whatsoever and would be terrified to ever get up on a stage. But something I could do was write, and that's all I could do. I can't draw. I don't have any kind of like drawing ability. I could write. That was the only way I could participate in shit.
Listen, I had no natural rhythm. I was not a born drummer, but I wanted to do it so bad that I just pushed myself until I guess getting to the point where I can actually play with a band. And then I listened to some of the old stuff, and it's a combination of being like terribly unskilled as a drummer and having incredible heart to play that fast.
Absolutely.
You know? It was an odd combination because I'm not a Neil Peart, I'm not a John Bonham, you know, but I also didn't want to, as they say, I didn't want to drop the beat in the middle of the song and go off panting and vomiting either, you know.
Well, plus there's a certain amount of balls it takes for anybody to just to plain old get up on stage, not even to mention to get up on stage and try and play the kind of music, you know, it may not have been virtuoso music, but to play that fast, you got to have some fucking ability. So that itself
skills.
That's a huge kind of like jump forward risk kind of thing.
Youthful exuberance. I had a lot of energy as a kid, you know, and I wasn't a jock, so I didn't have a way to get that energy out until really punk rock, you know, and that's why the energy and speed of punk rock really hit me so hard. I was a hyper kid, you know. I couldn't shut off my brain at night to go to sleep like normal kids, you know. I was just very, very energized, but I wasn't like good in sports, and I didn't really care about them, you know. So this became an outlet for me, you know, and God bless my mom for having to put up with me practicing like day after day in the basement after she gets home from work. You know, she was a teacher. She's trying to make dinner, and it's like, oh man, it must have sucked for her, you know.
At the same time, she knew where you were and what you were doing and what you were up to, and met your friends. And
sometimes, you know, not when I was playing in 7 Club, but.
All right, gentlemen. Well, let's wrap this up. So we want to thank Dave Scott Schwartzman, author of If It's Tuesday, It Must Be Walla Walla.
Cool.
And my partner, my writing partner, Steve. And so from all of us here at DiWulf, thank you.
Thanks, Dave.
Take care, guys.
We'll see you soon, buddy.